Welcome to Life Stories, where real experiences become powerful lessons. In today's episode, we dive into the emotional journey of a young woman who gave up everything for love, only to be betrayed, mistreated, and forced to choose herself in the end. It's a story about heartbreak, strength, and the courage to walk away from what no longer serves you. Subscribe to our channel to begin today's story. Let's explore how pain can lead to growth and how sometimes the most important love story is the one you have with yourself. I never imagined my life would come to this. Standing on the front porch of my parents' house in Dayton, clutching a half-packed suitcase, skin still stinging from the memory of hot water, and heart heavier than ever. It feels surreal when I think about everything that happened. The truth is, I loved Ryan. I really did. We met back in college at Ohio State, both of us majoring in economics. He was charming, intelligent, and passionate. We spent late nights studying together in quiet corners of the library, whispering about dreams of Wall Street or starting our own firm one day. After graduation, we each landed jobs at different finance companies. It was a busy time, but we made it work. I thought I'd found my partner for life. When Ryan proposed, he said, "Emily, I'll make you happy. Just say yes." And I did. With all my heart, I believed him. I thought we'd build a life full of love, respect, and laughter. But life has a way of revealing truth slowly, like water dripping through cracks until one day the ceiling collapses. Just after our wedding, Ryan asked me to quit my job and move in with his mother, Deborah, in the outskirts of Cleveland. His dad had passed away when Ryan was in middle school, and he'd grown up alone with her. He was an only child, and he felt responsible for her. At first, I understood. I told myself this was just a temporary sacrifice for love. So I gave up my career, packed my things, and moved into her home. At first, Deborah greeted us with a smile, but the moment her eyes met mine, I felt the warmth vanish. Her expression turned cold and guarded. It was as if I had trespassed into her sacred space. I brushed it off, thinking maybe she needed time to adjust. I tried to be friendly, polite, helpful, but within days, her true feelings surfaced. She would wake me up at 5 a.m., shouting, "Are you still sleeping? Get up and make breakfast." I was shocked. Who eats breakfast at 5 in the morning? But I didn't want to argue. I stumbled out of bed and began cooking. As I moved around the kitchen, groggy and confused, she stood behind me, criticizing every step. "Why are you so slow? You're useless if you can't even make a proper breakfast." I swallowed my pride, apologized, and served the food. But it was never enough. "This soup is too salty," she snapped one morning. "Are you trying to poison me?" Her words cut deeper than I let on. I wanted to scream, but instead I smiled faintly and said, "I didn't mean to." I couldn't understand why she hated me so much. I'd done nothing but try to be kind. Day after day, Deborah tore into me with her words. "People like you, jobless, uneducated, you don't belong in this house," she spat one morning. I wanted to remind her that I held a degree in economics and had once worked for a top firm, but I kept silent. What was the point? It wasn't even me who was unemployed. It was Ryan. He had lost his job months ago, and I had quietly stepped up, teaching myself how to trade stocks, staying up late learning charts and patterns. Slowly, I began to make real money. Eventually, I was earning around $50,000 a month. But Deborah didn't know that. In her eyes, I was just a freeloader. One morning, as I cleaned the living room, she sat with her coffee and barked, "Make sure you clean properly. Don't miss any spots." I didn't respond. That silence must have infuriated her. Suddenly, she jumped up, shouting, "How dare you ignore me? You're just a useless daughter-in-law. People like you should get out." Before I could react, she grabbed the pot of hot water she had boiled for her coffee and poured it on me. I screamed, "It's hot! Please stop!" The water wasn't scalding, thank God, but the shock of it sent me reeling. She stood there, arms crossed, smirking. "I've been saying it all along. If you're not working, you should leave." My heart cracked open. Not from the pain of the water, but from the pain of knowing someone could hate me so casually, so completely. I looked at her and said, "Fine, I'll leave." She didn't flinch. Good. Makes things easier. I packed what I could carry and walked out the door. Ryan wasn't home. He didn't call. He didn't text. I waited hoping he might check in. A day passed, then a week. Nothing. And in that silence, I realized I wasn't just leaving a toxic house, I was leaving a toxic life. It had been almost a month since I left Ryan's house and returned to my parents' place in Dayton. I'd settled into a quiet routine, morning walks with my mom, stock trades over coffee, and long evenings spent in peace. No one yelled at me. No one judged me. I could breathe again. Still, a small part of me hoped Ryan would reach out, that he'd ask how I was, or even just say he missed me. But silence was all I got. And in that silence, I found clarity. Then, one morning before sunrise, the doorbell rang. I checked the camera by the front door, and there they were. Ryan and Deborah standing side by side in the cold. My stomach dropped. "Yes," I said through the intercom. Deborah shouted, "I've forgiven you, Emily. You can come back now." Forgiven me? For what? I hadn't done anything wrong. I was the one who had been hurt, physically, emotionally, but she acted like I'd committed a crime. I stayed calm and replied, "Thank you, but I don't believe I've done anything that requires forgiveness." I ended the call. But they didn't leave. Minutes later, pounding echoed through the hallway. "Don't hang up on me," Deborah yelled. "Let us in." Worried they'd wake the neighbors, I reluctantly opened the door. They came in, Ryan silent, Deborah striding ahead like she still owned the space. I led them to the living room and asked, "What are you doing here?" Deborah waved her hand like it was all a misunderstanding. "I've decided to let you come back," she said with a condescending smile. "Even someone like you, unemployed and uneducated, deserves a second chance." I couldn't hold back anymore. "I'm not unemployed," I said sharply. "Your son is, and I'm the one who's been paying your bills for the last few months." The silence was instant. Deborah blinked, confused. Ryan stared at the floor. "You lost your job?" she asked him, incredulous. Ryan nodded slowly. "I didn't know how to tell you." That's when the real storm began. Deborah turned on him immediately, her voice rising in fury. "You mean all this time she was supporting us? You just sat around?" I sat back and watched, feeling a strange mix of sadness and relief. At least now the truth was out. But their sudden chaos didn't move me. I'd had enough. As the argument between them escalated, I stood up, reached into my bag, and pulled out a folded document. "Ryan," I said quietly, "this is a divorce form. I've already signed it." He froze, staring at the paper like it was a grenade. "What? Wait, Emily, this is too sudden." "It's not sudden. You've had weeks. You never checked on me. You never even asked if I was okay." He tried to argue, to plead, but I cut him off. "I'm done. I can't stay married to someone who abandons me when I need them most." Deborah, for once, said nothing. The woman who'd never run out of insults now sat in silence, eyes lowered. Ryan finally signed. His hand shook. "Don't regret this," he muttered. "I won't," I said. "But you might." And just like that, our marriage was over. 3 weeks passed. Life in Dayton settled into something peaceful, something I hadn't felt in a long time. My parents never asked too many questions. They just let me be. I was finally able to focus on my stock trading and rebuild my spirit. But then, one afternoon, my phone buzzed with a name I didn't expect to see again. It was Deborah. I let it go to voicemail, but she called again, and again. On the fifth attempt, I picked up. "Emily," she said, her voice frantic. "The electricity and gas have been cut off. What's going on? Did you stop paying?" "Yes," I said calmly. "I stopped paying because I don't live there anymore. I'm not responsible for your bills." She gasped. "But how could you do this to us? We have nothing." I almost laughed at the irony. After all the time she told me I was nothing, now she needed me. I replied, "Ask Ryan. He said he'd get a job and take care of things. That's not my role anymore." "You're still my daughter-in-law." She snapped, trying to guilt me. "No, I'm not," I said, and ended the call. Then I blocked her number. I realized in that moment how deep the manipulation ran. She hadn't come because she cared. She'd come because she needed something. For years, I had allowed myself to believe that love meant enduring pain, that family meant sacrifice without limits. But I was wrong. Love without respect is just control. Family without kindness is just obligation. A few weeks later, Ryan reached out. A message this time. He said he was sorry, said he now understood how much I had carried on my own. He told me he had finally found work at a local factory and that his mother still treated him the same way she had treated me. He asked if there was any chance I'd come back. Reading that message, I felt nothing. There was a time when I would have replied instantly, a time when I would have clung to hope. But now, I had grown past it. I blocked his number too. About 5 months after the divorce, a friend of mine invited me to a small dinner in Columbus. There I met someone, Michael. He was older, calm, thoughtful, and kind in the quiet way that doesn't ask for attention. We talked about books, travel, and favorite recipes. He didn't rush me. He didn't try to fix me. He just listened. We're not talking about marriage or forever just yet, and that's okay. What we have is simple, sincere, and safe. Sometimes life teaches you the hardest lessons through heartbreak. I learned that love is not supposed to hurt, that silence from someone you love is its own kind of betrayal. But I also learned how strong I could be, how important it is to walk away when staying means losing yourself. And now, finally, I'm choosing me. Looking back, I no longer feel anger, just clarity. What happened with Ryan and Deborah was painful, yes, but it was also necessary. It broke me open in ways I didn't expect, but it also gave me space to grow, to heal, and to remember who I truly am. I learned that walking away isn't weakness. Sometimes it's the strongest thing you can do. I don't regret leaving. I regret staying as long as I did, hoping things would change, hoping people would see my worth. But now I know better. I know that love must be mutual, that support should go both ways, and that no one, not a husband, not a mother-in-law, has the right to make you feel small. These days, my life is quieter, but richer. I no longer live for anyone else's approval. I wake up without dread. I smile without forcing it. I'm building a life that reflects my value, one decision at a time. To anyone out there going through something similar, please remember, you are not powerless. You are not what others say you are. You have the strength to choose a better path, even if it means walking it alone at first. Because on the other side of pain, there is peace. Thank you for listening to my story. If this touched you in any way or reminded you of your own journey, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. We share true, heartfelt stories every week, stories of strength, growth, heartbreak, and hope. This is Life Stories. Until next time, take care of yourself and never be afraid to choose you.